I spent a long time trying to figure out what this week's episode was going to be about before I remembered I don't have to talk about anything. I can talk about whatever I want. So I'm going to do it the way they did in the old country. I have the complete works of William Shakespeare right here. I'm going to open it up, turn to a random play, random sound. I don't know what I'm going to turn to. And I'm going to read a random line, maybe a random 2 or 3 lines. And I will extemporaneously derive 10 minutes of podcast from that. Are we ready? Let's see. 3 Henry the Sixth, Part 3. Henry the Sixth is 3 parts. Man, I gotta read my English histories at some point. Where was I? Yes. Now welcome more, 10 times more beloved than if thou hadst. No, if thou never hadst deserved our hate. That's the King Edward speaking. Now welcome more, 10 times more beloved than if thou never hadst deserved our hate. Or, translated plainly, welcome back, and we love you more than we would have if you had never angered us in the first place. That is Act 5, Scene 1, line 103 and 104. That's forgiveness. And forgiveness is alright. You gotta be willing to forgive people. Now, if I had actually read any of Henry VI, I would understand who is this, Gloucester? No. Whoever it is, Clarence? Either Clarence? It is Clarence. Clarence and King Edward, I don't know what history they have, but clearly there's a history here that Clarence must be forgiven. I don't know how bad of a thing it was that he did. Maybe he didn't do anything wrong at all. Maybe this is the point. Maybe this is why he is back, that he has cleared his name or something to that effect. Not that there's anything, But forgiveness is alright. I'm not good at holding grudges most of the time. You have to slip up pretty badly for me to hold a grudge against you into perpetuity. Perpetuity? Into perpetuity. You have to be very, very, very persistent and very effective in evoking my ire. My ire is slowly evoked. For the most part. I don't know how I would live if I were angry. Can you imagine being angry all the time? And some people are, and I just how do you get by? My blood pressure, I have high blood pressure and it runs in the family, and I don't really need to exacerbate that by being constantly angry, being constantly tense. Can you imagine that must be exhausting? Anger must be exhausting, and I don't want to say power to you if you're angry all the time, but, my keyboard's still on. I don't want to say power to you if you're angry all the time, but I can't imagine what effect that has on the way you view the world and the way you look at yourself and the way you talk to people and the way you interact with other human beings. How do you get by in a state of constant grievance? Shoot. I bump into inanimate objects and I apologize. I encounter problems, in places, and I find, people who can help me out, and people who are, it's their job to help me out, and I apologize for bothering them. I can't picture just being constantly in an aggression mode. Now, of course, when I need to be in an aggression mode, it takes me forever to get there. I have to, spin myself up. I have to focus my ki, as it were. And that's probably for the better. Living with and among people is easy when you're not constantly setting yourself up to just explode in any given moment. That's been my experience. Life has been easier when I am accepting of it. Life is harder when I am upset. It's distracting. Being upset is distracting. You're just trying to go out and go to the store, but you can't remember what it is that you're trying to buy because you keep thinking about whatever it was that happened yesterday. And you just work yourself up, and you bring yourself, like, not to the brink of tears, but you just start tensing up in the middle of this grocery store. No one's looking at you while you're doing it because they have their own lives that, they're not angry, or maybe they are angry, and maybe everyone in this grocery store is just bound tight with rage, and they're just in their own private universes of discontent. Can you imagine? I have no idea what I would do with myself if I were constantly angry. But that's okay. I don't want to imagine, because then I might as well just get angry. But I'm not angry. I'm in an okay mood today. I'm in an okay mood most of the time. When I was, I was planning out my college experience, he was asking me, well, where do you think you'd be most happy? I don't know. I've never not been happy for an extended period of time, but that it was my own fault and I just needed to snap out of it. Wherever I am, I tend to be relatively pleased with things. Or at least I have, a wide enough view of my surroundings that I can be not mad in the future. I can be not sad in the future. I can be not upset. And I know this. So I don't know, I'll be happy no matter where I end up. Am I happy now? Sure, most of the time. Would I be happy somewhere else? I don't know. Probably most of the time. And that's honestly most of the things I can ask for. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Because if I ask for anything more, it will just be more of the same thing. And forgiveness is part of that. It's hard to deal with people when you're angry at them. And it helps, at times, to separate the person you're angry at, who has done a thing with which you are angry. It helps to separate that from the person you know, at times. To have disagreements with people, but then remember, you're just disagreeing with them about such and such a thing. But, most of the time, you're good friends. You respect their opinions, and you're having a spat now, but you'll get over it. You'll get over it. You always do. You've never been angry at this person for a long time. When you're not thinking about whatever it is that this argument is about, you're not angry. You weren't even angry until you remember that you were arguing about something, and then, you just sort of, oh, so-and-so thinking such and such a thing. How very dare you? No. You forget about these things because you still like the other people in your life, even when they bother you. You have to. Because they're there. I mean, you could cut them out if they're just trash people, but I'm operating under the assumption that people I'm talking about aren't trash people. That's a good way of, if you take nothing else away from this podcast, and you probably won't, don't surround yourself with trash people. Surround yourself with people who are mostly okay that you disagree with sometimes, but you know that beyond that disagreement, there's somebody who's not trash. And if you are a trash person, well, you can buy deodorant at the supermarket while you're there being angry. I don't know. Hey, that worked. Where are we at? This is like, we're on 10 minutes. This is good. This is good. I'm glad that we worked out our issues today. Anyway, I got exams to study for.